Well, welcome back from that very beautiful musical break. Now we saw a couple of songs there, but of course the last song by Radio and Weasel, the late Radio now. Will you remember? The song is Remember, right? Now, of course, instead I'm joined by Robert, my usual suspect, Rita, very smart in black, I must say. She looks beautiful. And of course, another very beautiful lady, Madam Lungi. Lungi. Yes. Yeah, Lungi. Yeah, I think that reminds me of the speak Xhosa.
What?
Did you speak the language called Xhosa?
No, it's Xhosa.
Exactly.
Yeah, I am Xhosa.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Can you say that? Can you say that, Rita?
Of course. I've been to South Africa.
Well, you're here, I'm here. Let's just do that.
Lungi is here.
And
She can actually.
she speaks which language is it? Well, of course, as I said earlier, we must recognize that Kayonza Tea is a sponsor of this particular segment. And if you've not gotten yourself a cup of Kayonza Tea, please do that because it's going to lighten up your day. Now, we're looking at a list of the 6th February 2019. Now, the anti-mosquito paint is a smart solution to the challenges of infections of malaria. Now, that was a press release, and a statement was by the president where he encouraged that this will be an initiative that will aid and safeguard against the rampant deaths of malaria. Now, let us have a report that was given, then we'll come back to engage Madam Lungi. I have it right?
Yes, you have it
Great.
right.
The paint that has been approved by the National Drug Authority and NEMA, among others, has got the capacity to control mosquitoes for a period of 2 years. According to the director, Kansai Plascon Uganda, Chris Nugent, the company has invested $10 million in the project. President Museveni, in his speech, said that this innovation has many advantages.
But this one is a dual purpose. It is both a paint to make for beauty, to make sure that our walls are not gray and looking shabby, but it has got a potent product which kills mosquitoes for 2 years.
President Museveni noted that Ugandan scientists have developed larvicides to kill mosquitoes in water. He thanked the Vice President of Kasai Plascon, Dr. Kalpana Abe, for her leading role in the development of the paint.
So therefore, I'm really very happy with Dr. Kalpana, whom I regard as my daughter. So this launch is in a way a sensitization effort to inform Ugandans that we have got this miracle solution where you have a paint doing the work of killing the mosquitoes.
The State Minister for Health, Sarah Opendi, revealed that Uganda has been struggling to ensure that it is free from malaria.
And we have all these interventions, Your Excellency, that we have put in place, distributing the long-lasting insecticide nets to the population. We have the indoor residual spraying, which is limited to 14 districts, where malaria incidence is highest. We have also other interventions that we have had in place, the larviciding, which is a recent one which we have just launched.
She said that government has a target for a complete reduction in malaria incidents by 2020. She added that the global target is to eradicate the disease by 2030. She assured the people that the new paint has been proved to be safe. The Vice President of Kasai Plascon Japan, Dr. Kalpana Abe, said that mosquitoes cause the largest number of deaths. She revealed that her company made the first launch of the anti-mosquito paint in Zambia in 2018, October.
Mosquitoes cause the largest number of deaths every year, and the majority through malaria. It didn't take us long to decide on our focus region, sub-Saharan Africa, that constitutes 80% of these incidences. In April 2018, the Kansai Group became the world's first coating company to boast an insecticide paint that was approved and registered by the United States Environmental Protection Agency and accredited by the United States Department of Agriculture.
She said that they started operations in Uganda in August 2017. The launching ceremony was also attended, among others, by the Vice President of Sudan, Osman Mohamed Yusuf.
That kid looks just like Robert.
It could be Robert's son. Robert's son. There you go.
Are you going to let him get away with that?
And I saw Robert very happy when he's leaving.
I reserve my
But
comment.
anyway,
For the first time.
That's just a lighter note. But anyway,
But that was actually a very interesting
Dance?
event. Yeah, it was very interesting.
Oh, indeed,
Yeah.
indeed, and of course the fact that the whole content of the event was quite important. Now we have seen Uganda suffer so much, and Ugandans died from malaria. You look at one of the causes of mothers, expectant mothers who die from this particular scourge. Now we're looking at Plascon.
Yeah.
And that is why we have this very beautiful lady here in studio to take us through what this project is, how it came to life. But of course, I'll first and foremost let you introduce yourself to our viewers, and then we shall come to the questions.
Hi, viewers. My name is Lungi Koni. I am the brand marketing manager for East Africa at Plascon. Yeah.
Okay, what is Plascon?
Plascon is the biggest paint company currently in East Africa and Uganda.
It was formerly Saturday?
It was formerly Saddling.
It was,
Okay.
but in terms of the product and the quality and the offering and the people that you once knew at the former company, we are now Plascon.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know. Now we're looking at this anti-mosquito paint.
Yeah.
How do you come up with such a brilliant idea? Were you looking to address the big challenge in Africa, or particularly in Uganda or East Africa for that matter?
And actually, maybe to add on that, is it the first time we are having this product, or it is used somewhere else?
Well, funny enough, and mosquitoes are not only a problem in Africa. Mosquitoes are also a problem in certain parts of Asia. So us being part of the Cancer Group and falling under them, they also looked at other countries that could benefit from this innovation. And the first continent that came up was obviously Africa. So the innovation was already available in our other Asian countries by the Cancer Group, and Plascon got to benefit from it as the African part of that company, and hence why we decided that we were also going to bring it into Africa.
For how long have we had this particular paint, not only in Uganda, and what are some of the stories?
Like how long have we had it?
Yes, this
Okay.
particular.
So the paint has been in existence for over 5 years in the rest of the world, apart from being Africa. We've just recently launched in Africa and starting off with Zambia. And we launched in Zambia in 2018, October. We've just recently launched in Uganda, so it's pretty new. And the reason for that is that we needed to take cognizance of the fact that we are different in terms of legislation and working through. And you need a buy-in for people. You can't take a product from the rest of the world and just put it into Africa, because there are certain unique things that need to happen, and you need to make sure that you have the buy-in. So in terms of us taking so long, for up to 2 years we've been working on this product. We've taken so long because we've worked with the ministries of health. We've taken the environmental impacts of the product. And we've also made sure that it's a direct fit. We're not taking something that's probably not going to work. So yeah. That's
So-
how
so-
it's
Okay,
taken
probably
so long.
maybe if we look at maybe I'll go to European countries. Most of them, when you see some of them preparing to come to Africa, First of all, the first thing they will think about anti-malaria tablets, because they know African countries have mosquitoes. Is it something they have used to prevent mosquitoes in their countries, or it's something else?
Well, in European countries, the product is not available there yet. But in Asia, the paint is available there, and they use it. And do understand that the only malaria is not the only focus. You have mosquito-borne diseases. I mean, you can have yellow fever, and you can also have elephantitis. So what we're trying to do is to actually kill the mosquito that carry all these diseases. So it's not just one key focus. I mean, there's a lot of other things that mosquitoes bring into our homes and probably affect us in different ways.
But again, Felix, my worry is, you know, the fact that it is something that stays in the house for about 2 years.
Yes.
Doesn't this affect us human beings? If it is something that is killing mosquitoes, doesn't it affect us human beings who are living within the same environment?
No, does not affect you as a human being, and I'll take you through the process. Let's start with the other vector control methods that are available. Just like a spray, an insecticide spray, that will affect what you're putting it on, and you're still living in the same house and it won't kill you. So you have to understand that the active ingredient works on a mosquito. You are 1,000,000 times heavier than a mosquito. So it does not affect humans. We have tested it. And the active ingredient, which is called permethrin, is generally so safe that it's also used on children who suffer from head lice or scabies. So we know what the product can do, hence it's been part of the pen, because we're not going to try and poison our people. So we've done the necessary research.
Okay, then one would ask how is it applied? Does it, for example, abamartin and just paint? Is that all, or there's a particular procedure that when you're buying this paint, you have to mix it?
You would apply it as any other
paint. Okay.
Right? That's a great thing about it. You get there, you can apply it by roller, you can apply it by brush, but you know you have to do the necessary instructions which are given on the tin, and this applies to any other paint. Okay. You have to put on protective gear, right? And the only thing that you need to be cognizant is that you can only enter the room after 2 hours once the paint is dry. It's safer to do that way.
Okay. Now, of course, the other question is now how effective is this paint against malaria? Now, and the reason why we ask this is because does it deter, is it like a deterrent to mosquitoes not to come in? Does it kill them? Does it, what actually does it do? One,
let's cover this, right? This is not an anti-malaria paint. Okay. Right? It is an anti-mosquito paint.
Okay.
So that means if a mosquito is carrying yellow fever, it will die. If a mosquito is carrying malaria, it will die. If a mosquito is carrying elephantitis, yes, it will die. It is not a repellent, right? Let's get that straight. You will get mosquitoes in your house, like any other insect, right? But once the mosquito settles on the wall, the active ingredient goes into the mosquitoes and it kills the mosquito's nervous system. So it has a knockdown effect. So mosquitoes will start dying from that. So don't think that once you've bought the paint and you see mosquitoes in your house and start saying, this paint doesn't work.
That's true.
No, mosquitoes will come into your house because it's not a repellent. What needs to happen is that mosquito must land on the actual wall and obviously touch the paint with the active ingredient on it, and it will automatically knock the mosquito down. That's what happens. Yes.
Well, that is a very good innovation, but one would wonder, we've been having paints around, and maybe relatively the prices were not that very friendly. So now we have a paint that even has an additional benefit.
Yeah.
Looking so far, if you've done some research, what is the purchasing power of Ugandans for such a paint?
Actually, just what one is saying, that how have we made it possible for every Ugandans to be able to have at least this paint?
The pricing is not too bad. It is affordable. And what we're trying to do is equip also the consumer together with the community. So the paint currently sits at 86,000 per 4 liters. However, while we are still trying to interact with the people and engage with them and start building a community and talkability around the paint, for the first 3 months, we're giving back. For every 10 you buy, you will get 4,000 Ugandan shillings back into the community and NGOs to help us walk this journey through together.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, at least we're sure now. Now, the other question, now, for example, we're looking at duration. You talked about 2 years.
Up to 2 years, yes.
And after 2 years,
you have to paint again.
Exactly. Now, normally, if scientifically, some things, if, for example, look at if they outlive their duration, they become poisonous.
No.
How does this work? For example, should you assume they should be expired or something like that?
I don't know if this is going to be the correct analogy, right? You know sunscreen, right?
Yeah.
You have to apply sunscreen every 2 hours.
Yes, that's
right. So you apply it, but it gets thinner and thinner and thinner, and it doesn't cover the skin anymore or does what it needs to do. So it's basically the same effect. It's not going to do anything. It just becomes like a normal paint because the active ingredient has actually worn out. That's all. You're not going to sit there and get worried. It's not asbestos in any way. You know, that when you start inhaling it, you start finding out that you're going to have lung problems or anything. It simply just wears off. That's it.
Now, in the use of this particular anti-mosquito paint, are there particular ways that you would give our viewers, for example, the best way? Does it, for example, does it come in all colors? That's the first question. Does it come in all colors or it's in specific colors? And if it does in all colors, now which is the best way of applying it? Do we look at, is it outdoor or indoor?
Okay, let's start with the way to apply it. It's an interior paint. You paint it inside your house.
Oh, you don't paint it outside?
You can't use it outside.
Why?
Will it wash
off? It's not an exterior paint. It hasn't been developed to be an exterior paint. It is an interior paint. On the color, because we are color specialists, and that's the one thing that motivates us, the paint is currently available in white and soft white. However, because we are passionate about color, you come into our 2nd Street offices or our factory in Namanve, and we will tint it for you in whatever color you want.
Okay, now if you say it is just for inside, interior paint.
Yes.
Is it washable like any other paints that we see where you can actually wash the wall and clean the wall?
Yes, it's a washable paint. However, because it has an inactive ingredient, you also need to treat it in a certain way. So it's literally using the mildest detergent and obviously a soft cloth to wipe it down.
But if it is a washable paint, paint, why can't we have it outside? Because me, I would actually say maybe, because I would
prefer to have it outside so I don't have any mosquitoes coming into
Think about it. Think about it, what the outside of the wall has to deal with. Think about it. You have harsh sunlight. You have rain, you have wind. So imagine what the impact of the outside of the environment is going to do to that paint. The active ingredient won't last that long. But as time goes by, and I see it's a question that comes up quite a lot. Maybe it's us to take it back to the research room and see if we can develop one for outside that's going to withstand what exterior walls are, facing. Yeah. But at the moment, it's an interior paint. But I do understand where you're coming from, but do understand that your outside walls face much more harsher conditions than your interior walls.
Well, I know this. What are some of the precautions or even dangers of this paint?
There are no dangers. There are no dangers in paint unless you're going to be trying Superman or Superwoman and drink it. Otherwise, yeah. So there are. It won't affect your skin. You will not get a rash. It won't affect your lungs. You will be able to still breathe. It won't do anything to you. The only thing that you can warn people against, which is said about every other paint, don't drink it, don't ingest it.
Don't touch it when it's wet.
Yes, you know, those type of things. But otherwise, you do not have to worry about anything. Like I said to you, we've taken the country and the people of the country very seriously when we developed this paint. That's why we walked through the necessary legislations and did the research for up to 2 years to say that this is going to work, this is not going to work. People have advised us, and people have actually made sure that we're not going to be poisoning our people in the country.
Well, still, I'll ask something related to that. Are there age restrictions in using this paint? If I have my baby's room, is it okay if I use this particular paint? Or some age, my granny's around 90 plus.
No,
I'm trying to see, really, these are chemicals, to be honest.
No, I hear you. So, like I said to you, we have an active ingredient in it, right? And I'll take you through that now. So you can apply it in a baby's room. You can apply it in an age-old home, or if your mother's still living with you, you can still apply it in a room. Remember, this active ingredient is so safe that it's been available in Uganda for years because it's used on your mosquito nets. It's the active ingredient on the mosquito nets. The active ingredient, once more, can also be used on a baby's head if the baby has head lice. So it's something that's there. So we know it's a tried and tested product. It's not a new chemical that the people of Uganda have not been exposed to.
But does it only deal with mosquitoes, or it also deals with those small insects that are in the house?
All right. At the moment, it only deals with mosquitoes. That's what we've tested it against.
Now, normally when you look at such invasions, I think they're very beautiful, but I would want to understand and think that they're basically targeting to assist that person down there. Now, have you thought about any partnership perhaps with government or any other government institutions so we can have them availed to people at a very, very affordable cost? I don't know, maybe the ministries or the government, I don't know.
We are currently in talks. I can't divulge at the moment who the people are, but there's some very exciting projects happening. And how we've also, as a company, led that conversation is that currently we're running a campaign called Hold My Hand to 5. Because children under the age of 5 are the most affected by mosquito-borne diseases. And the lasting effects of that, you know, are very heartbreaking. So we want our kids to be able to grow and see their dreams coming forth, instead of having a child that is now terribly anemic, or a child that is unable to use their limbs anymore, or even the saddest part of it, dying before they reach the age of 5. So we've held hands with some ministries and some organizations to say, this is what we want to take out to the rest of the country. We actually launched last week on the 15th of February, and our first school was Nakaseri Primary School.
That is Hold My Hand to 5.
Yeah, Hold My Hand to 5.
Okay, and it's basically still around the same thing?
Yes, it is. Yes, protect our children, make sure they grow beyond the age of 5, because before a child is 5, their immunity system is
very, very fragile.
Yeah, it's very fragile and very weak. So they're susceptible to any other disease, and one of them, which is topical in Africa, are mosquito-borne diseases. So
now, if I may just ask, what exactly you guys do in this campaign, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, we go around painting NGOs, we go around painting schools. We go around
with this paint, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We go around educating children, you know. And it's so funny how much our children know and how much our children take into context. So it was nice engaging with our first group at Nakaseri Primary School, whereby they did a whole lot of plays and skits around this whole thing. And it was actually heartwarming. And it was appreciated, so that's what we're going to do.
I think from the conversation we're having, I think you're more based in Kampala, in the central region. Have you made effort to go out to Kampala?
Yes, we are going out to Kampala. We're going to be in Barara, we're going to go in Jinja, and other parts of the country.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, when regards to fighting malaria and using pesticides, then paint that has some ingredients that can eliminate mosquitoes, how receptive have Ugandans been? Because our history, we had a time of similar outdoor residual spray. We've had a bit of resistance here and there. When it comes to now a paint to live with, almost stay within the house, how receptive have we been so far?
Well, it's been very receptive. We've seen people taking it on and very excited about it. If you look at our Facebook pages, the responses have been very great. people have even educated us on what happens to mosquito paints. No, sorry, to mosquito nets, where people go fishing with them.
Yeah.
You know, and people do other things with these mosquito nets that, you know, that are not going to protect them from mosquitoes. So it's been nice. And people are actually so cognizant of what is happening around them that they even say, great, I have a mosquito net, great, I now have a paint, I now have a spray to apply, because there is no limitation to prevention. So people are seeing these things actually working together.
All right, now actually, to give more credit to this particular discussion and the efforts of Plascon anti-mosquito paint, we're going to have a very short report about fight against malaria in schools.
Malaria remains one of the leading health problems in the developing world, and Uganda bears a particularly large burden from the disease.
Wow. So
it is with this challenge that
Uganda?
Plascon Uganda has embarked on painting schools across the country with the new paint that disrupts the mosquito's nervous system and affects their desire to feed.
This particular campaign is aimed at helping fight early child death, mainly caused by malaria. Statistics show that 70% of malaria deaths involve children under the age of 5, making malaria prevention an urgent need in Africa.
The campaign, dubbed Hold My Hand to 5, comes at a time when stakeholders in the health sector in Uganda are engaged in fighting the prevalence of malaria cases across the country.
So currently we have other malaria strategies according to the Uganda malaria reduction strategy that we have. We have the long-lasting insecticide nets, which we have been distributing. We have the indoor residue spraying, which has been another program. And of course, we have the larviciding, which we are also going to scale up.
So this is the campaign to say that protect our children before anything actually happens to them. We're talking about growing with kids that are going to be contributors to society in the future. And what better way to give them hope that after 5, they can dream to be whatever they want to be in life.
The anti-mosquito paint, which is the only product of its kind on the market, has been approved by the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Internal Affairs, and the National Drug Authority, among others. Charlotte Amuge, UBC News.
Oh, thank you, Charlotte, for that report. Now, of course, what she was talking about, that is in Nakasero Primary School. And you know that that's Robert's primary school.
Oh, wow. All right. When did you leave school?
Like in 83. Yeah.
In when? Before we were born?
Unfortunately, the question is
anyway,
mine and Felix
so
answers. But I'm glad to have a lovely spokesperson.
But anyway,
I'm sorry.
I know, but
A spokesperson who doesn't have facts.
Who doesn't have facts?
I've actually I've made a few friends from the old boys club and the old girls club there.
But by the time Robert left, there was no old boys club.
Well, I left while Didas Tuyamureva was still the headmaster. That is not so long a time. I think by the time I was leaving Nakasero, Felix had completed university.
Anyway, now we're looking at this paint, but just I think before we went for the break, rather for the video, we're trying to understand this partnership, Hold My Hand to 5. Rita was talking about how wide it's going to go out of Kampala, and are we targeting primary schools particularly? What is our target? Of course, we are looking at ages of 5 and this, but there are people who help. Have we looked at any communities from schools? Are we looking at which particular societies are we targeting?
We're looking at groups that are within what we've given the campaign's name.
Okay.
You know, so Hold My Hand to 5.
Sure.
So we're looking at babies' homes.
Okay.
We're looking at children under 5. And we're also looking at old age homes, you know, all the vulnerable people within our community. So the scope is very wide. This is our starting point.
Sure.
And we're going there and we're equipping people. We're getting people to talk. We're getting other organizations to hold our hands too during this time. So it's not limited to just that. But at the moment, this was our starting point.
Okay.
Well, I've been looking at the story and all the submissions so far. One thing that has come to my mind is, okay, this paint, it is unique from the rest because it can keep you safe from malaria and others for a period of 2 years. But then I looked at the fact that many of the families that are losing children below 5 because of malaria, because malaria is treatable in Uganda, you can get that treatment. These are sometimes vulnerable families, where a family even finds it very hard or expensive to treat a malaria case to the extent of death. Now I'm looking at how does it then, will it resonate for a family that cannot even afford or find it very hard to treat one malaria case and can result into death, to acquire the paint? Are there any subsidies or a way that you were looking to find out to make it at least favorably affordable or to such families?
Okay, let's just begin here, and you know what, understanding what an offering is helps us, right? So let's just start here that it is an anti-mosquito paint, right? That covers mosquito-borne diseases. Unfortunately, malaria is vulnerable people who don't have money. I said to you, we started with a Hold My Hand to 5 campaign. I cannot divulge on the many relationships and the factors that are currently happening. The conversations are happening behind the scene, and we feel your heart and we hear what you are saying, and those things are being addressed. And we're starting with the most easiest of things, educating people, understanding that we've grown as countries. We've grown in understanding of these mosquito-borne diseases and how they affect us. We've gone up to a certain extent where we are able to treat them. So it's now the conversation is going down to the lowest level and says, these are the symptoms and this is what you need to do because it can be treated. And you'll find that people live with this and they don't go to the clinic on time, and that's what leads to death. So those conversations are going to happen around this whole thing of us putting all the vector method controls together, telling people what to look out for and what it is they need to do. Because malaria at the moment is treatable. You can go to a clinic if you find out, if you go as soon as you see the symptoms. So those are the things that we're currently doing at the moment.
And actually, not forgetting that Plascon is a business.
Yes.
It must write profits at the end of that.
No, not even that. It's not about profits, and people need to understand this. It's not just about profits. It's understanding how our communities contribute back to those profits.
Is this sort of like CSR for you?
Yes. So it is a CSR leg of it. Yes.
Oh, wow, how nice.
Yes.
How nice. So we're seeing more of this.
Just trust me. I think after this, I'll definitely have a private talk with her. And
really?
Maybe see how we can get this paint into our community.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah,
of course, you have to begin with Much Indian.
You know, he's the chairperson of the place.
Is it?
I look at this, it is really a blessing that,
that is why I was talking about communities.
That we can have a paint that can fight mosquitoes.
Yes.
It is a blessing. So why I have that feeling and that passion is I see many Ugandans, many families, children die of malaria. This is real.
Pregnant mothers.
Pregnant mothers and all this. But by the time a family can lose a person because of malaria, you know, not necessarily that they were negligent, but because I come from a community where a baby can have malaria for 3 days, you know, and
without any medication.
Without any medication.
Because they don't have money.
And I look at a point, if this house was painted with such a paint, they couldn't have this malaria. Maybe it couldn't be a problem. But then they can't even afford the paint. So I'm left as a leader wondering,
you buy for them as a leader.
Well, how much can I do? And how much can I? So that's where I'm like, if really, I was happy when I saw the president at the launch of this, if really we could have a further step that can make this a subsidy or a way that the poor among the poorest among the poor.
I think
yes.
I think that's what you said.
Yeah, we've covered that. The talks are happening.
Going on and
things are happening, but you can't divulge.
I understand, yes.
So
It's
we
too
are
early.
meeting with the relevant bodies that can take these initiatives up and give back to the community. We are busy with those things.
We really pray that it's expeditious. And but we do appreciate. We do really appreciate the initiative.
And again, actually, you were saying that do you actually take an extra mile, probably going to the house and help them paint the house, or what is the procedure?
In this paint?
Yeah, when someone has actually purchased the paint, do you go ahead to help them?
So no, right? But what we can do, a person will, obviously this one is to fight a problem, right? However, we are not opposed if somebody comes and say, I want to paint my whole house, irrespective whether it's anti-mosquito paint or our other paint offerings, we can go to your place and put a color scheme for you together and be able to show you how to use those colors together. So it's not just this product only, it's all our other products.
Really? But does that come with an extra cost or what? Of course.
No, not at all. You know, you come in, we sit down and we show you how to put colors together, what is going to go with this color and why you should paint this room in this color and what it's going to mean, you know, and have a sit down with you, and then we put the colors together for you and off you go.
So you give an expert opinion?
Yes, we do give expert opinion.
Wow.
I know you talked about this paint having been in Mozambique.
Yeah,
that is in Africa.
No, Zambia.
Zambia, sorry, that is in Africa. But welcome to Uganda, a country of very crafty people and smart people as well. Have you had some ways that you're going to protect alternation of this? Because it is in this country where if such a paint is seen and is of a high benefit to the community, the next you have something similar to this?
You know what, competition is always going to be there. I mean, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all those people, you know, they're playing in the same circle. But it's what you know, in terms of quality and delivery over time. And I must say, we do know that we're going to have competition, but I must say...
It's not about competition.
No, it is about competition.
My question is not about competition. It's about counterfeit, something similar to yours.
Yes, but that will be competition.
It's not.
Yes, but that will be competition because it eats back into my profit. It's somebody selling the same offering as me, so it is competition. So what I'm saying to you, you need to register that product. So you can't just decide that you're going to sit in a back room, mix whatever it is that you make some concoction and put it up on a shelf and say that it kills mosquitoes. You are going to have authorities behind you. Because like I said to you, we walked an actual process. We invested. We invested. Ministry of Health, the National Drug Authority, organizations such as NEMA, Ministries of Internal Affairs, like one by one, there was a process to be followed. You didn't just sit there and think, hey, I've got an idea. Factory people, let's do this and put it on the shelf. There are certain rules that need to be conformed to before you can actually have the paint on shelf.
Oh, wow. Now, actually, now we have at least wrapped it all up, but I'm going to give a chance to Robert, Rita, then lastly we shall have yours. This, Robert, lastly, about this particular issue, do you want to call on the people in Mubarak?
I just want to call on government that if this is a solution, one of the solutions to eliminating disease spread by a mosquito, in my opinion, I'll look at more of malaria. I think we have to find a way so that doesn't remain for a particular class of people, that we find that is available and affordable to many Ugandans.
Wow. All right.
Well,
His Excellency has had.
Yes, Rita. Me, I really appreciate the product. I just pray that at least every Ugandan can access this, can afford this, and probably fight malaria in a way or the other.
Wow. Madam Lungi, please, lastly to our viewers and people who support Plascon, the people you work with as well.
We've heard your cry, Uganda. We are going to hold hands with you and do what is necessary to make sure that everybody benefits. We do know the target. The Ministry of Health has educated us on what it is we need to do, and they're looking forward to a mosquito free country, you know, by 2021, together with the mosquito-borne diseases. So trust us when we say the person who cannot afford the paint, there are organizations who are willing to hold our hands as a company together with the various governmental bodies in the country. So we are doing our best to make sure that the paint delivers to what we said it's going to deliver to.
Okay. Well, I must say we do appreciate the efforts and the investment of Plascon as a malaria, which is most common to us. But this generation or the millennia should die, or one should lose a life due to avoidable circumstances like mosquitoes, really. And we must say thank you again and again. And the people at Plascon, we do appreciate your efforts. And of course, as I said earlier, that this particular segment is brought to you by Kayonza Tea. Now get yourself Kayonza Tea to avoid anti-aging. For people who are born in 82, who finished school in 82, get yourself Kayonza Tea. To have, of course, if you want to look like some people as well. But thank you so much for watching. Good morning, Uganda, and Good Morning Uganda agenda. That is it that we had for you. Now we'll have our quote for the day, and later Ruben will come on with sports. Good morning.